Hi and welcome to Pam's vlog. I have not done a vlog in quite a while, and when I was reading some of your responses and comments on our new website, I starred several of them that contained really good information that I wanted to come back and revisit. And today, when I went back to try to check those starred messages to see if what I wanted to turn into a video, there weren't any there. So I don't know what I did, but I'm still learning how to operate our website. But there is one that I wanted to share with you because it contains some really good information that is related to the car emergency kit that we presented a few videos ago. As a young woman, when I was married for the first time to my first husband, it was May 1st. And spring had sprung, the fruit had been in bloom, the tulips were up, everything was wonderful, and the wind started to blow, and it blew all day of my wedding day. And then by that night, we had the worst blizzard of the year on May the 1st. Right now, even though we are in April, there is still the opportunity for really bad weather, winter weather creeping up. The last 2 days we have had hard freezes. It's probably taken our apple crop this year, and we're due for another hard freeze tonight. And so in thinking about car safety and if you might be caught in a snowstorm, we had a gentleman from Alaska talk about how he might be the only person that we know who was stuck overnight in a car during a terrible snowstorm. And he had some ideas that he wanted to share in addition to the things that we had in our car emergency kit. You know, things like blankets and warm clothing and food and snacks and water and that sort of thing. One of the things he said that I was really caught my attention was the idea of putting a book in with your supplies. And first I wondered, a book? Who wants to read? But boy, did he have a good point. One of the things that he said was that when you are alone, if you are alone, I was never alone, I always had children with me, but if you are alone, caught in a situation like that, your mind starts to second guess your decision to stay in your car. And you start inventing scenarios where you will leave the car and go here and leave the car and go and do that. And so for him, he says, that picking up a book, lighting a candle, he said pack plenty of candles, and then read your book by candlelight so that you are not inclined to pay attention to those scenarios that might be playing in your head. I thought that was really a good idea. And of course, the best advice is don't ever leave your car. Stay with your car. So in addition to candles, of course, he suggested really lightweight stoves and things that you can cook a little bit of food on, and we have those in our pack, and I hope that you do too. Then one of the other things that he mentioned that he hasn't seen anybody talk about was something that I thought, you know, he's right. I've never talked about this in any of our videos, even though we practice this. About 3 years ago, I read an account of a young woman in her 20s who was driving along Coast Highway in California in her SUV, and it went over a cliff down onto a very deserted beach. And the tide was coming in. And the tide was going to reach dangerous levels. She could already tell that. Now, in her SUV, she had a little tool just like this, similar to this. They are not all identical, of course. But this tool should be in every vehicle you own. And if you have more than one passenger in your car, if it's the driver plus anyone else, there should be more than one of these in your car. Jim and I each have 2 of these, one on the driver's side, one on the passenger side. And we have taped them in place because if our car rolls, this thing is going to go flying if it's just loose. And I have it right where I can reach it with my hand. I can put my left hand out and there it is. So what does this tool do? Well, first of all, it cuts the seat belt. Now, her seat belt was jammed. This woman in California who went over the edge of the cliff, it was about a 100-foot drop. She's lucky to be alive. And she wouldn't have been alive by the time she was finally discovered if she had not had this tool. So this will slice your seatbelt. Hers was jammed. And then the other thing that this does is this is a hammer. This has a little cover on it, but look, check out the point on that. Well, so why a hammer like this? That is so you can get out your window. If water starts coming into your vehicle, it's going to short out the electrical system and your window won't work if it's an electric window, and most of them are these days. So this little hammer will break it, and then the other side you can just whack it until you can get out. And something to think about, if you are overturned in a river or a stream, if you can possibly figure out which way the water is coming, you will not want to try to break out the window on the side where the water is coming at your vehicle, but rather you're going to want to go downstream to the other side of the car so that the water just won't all of a sudden just rush right in. It's going to rush in anyway, but at least it won't be with such force. And that would allow you to get out of the car. Now, this gentleman gave a couple of examples of people that he knew. One was quite a burly gentleman who dislocated his shoulder by trying to just break through that way without a little tool like this. Even a tool like this, you don't need to be a big burly man in order to use it and be effective with it. An older child could also do this and get out. And then sadly, there was a young woman with a child in a car, and her car rolled over into a stream, and they were both drowned. So as we think about car safety, we need to think about more than just our safety kits, which are very, very important. But we need to think and plan ahead of what would we do in this situation and what would we do in that situation. And so if we're stuck in our cars for a long period of time in the middle of the desert, we have to think about things differently than if we are stuck in our car in the middle of a snowstorm in Alaska. So it's a good thing to put some thought into this. And if you are keeping an emergency preparedness notebook, perhaps it would be a good thing for you to jot your thoughts down. Get them concrete so that you can have a plan. And for goodness sake, if you don't have a tool like this, I'll put the link to this one, but buy what you can get them in a lot of places. I think I did get these on Amazon, so I'll see if I can go back. We've had them for several years. I'll see if I can find the link for this. If so, I'll put it below this video. So those are my vlog thoughts for the day. I really want to thank the gentleman from Alaska who shared these thoughts with us. And if you are hearing this video, will you please send me another message and let me know what I forgot, and I will include it in another video. Thanks so much for watching, and we will see you with our next video.